Hello, welcome to Lessons Learned. I'm Sherry. Glad to see you back here again for Monday Quilt Chat, or if it's for some reason the very first time you've been here, welcome. We have lots of fun here on Lessons Learned, talking about all the quilty things we have going on in our lives. Lots of nice comments under the videos recently. Lots of new people. The old faithfuls also commenting regularly. I just really love to see that, and I appreciate it very much, all the support that you give. But today we're here just to chat, just like we always do on Mondays. Nothing special, but I hope I can inspire you, encourage you to keep going on your quilt journey, your crafting journey, whatever it is that you're into. Yeah, that's what we talk about here. So thanks for coming again. And then here's Blue. Blue, do you want to say hi? Say hi. The snow is finally melting around here, and he's happy about that, I think. He sniffs around a lot more while he's outside, because it has been like a giant skating rink out here. A few weeks ago, I say a few weeks ago, I guess it's maybe 2 weeks ago, when we got the sheet of ice between two snowfalls. It was about an inch, 3/4 of an inch to an inch of ice in between. So as the snow has melted from underneath and the ice has kind of risen to the top, if you will, it's rough for the doggies. They don't have a lot of place they can get traction and do the things they need to do and sniff the things they like to sniff. Isn't that right, Blue? Isn't that right? It's just been a rough winter for the doggies. Yes, it has. Especially the little house doggies that sit on their mom's lap most of the time and have a warm place. Isn't he just the sweetest thing? I don't know if he's ready for a haircut or not, but he's looking a little fluffy. Uh-oh, I said a word, didn't I? He knows lots of different words like car, walk, haircut. That one got his attention. McDonald's. Let's see, what else does he like? Breakfast. These are some good words, aren't they? Yes, they are. There's some good words, and you're a good boy. I wonder, Blue, if you would like to lay down on your beanbag chair while I talk to the people. Would that be fun? Let's do that. For the first time the other day, he was out here, and he was laying down here on his beanbag chair. And usually when I jump up out of my chair to go do something, cut something or iron or whatever, sometimes he's anxious to go. He's not really wanting to stay in here. So he'll jump down and come to my side, and then he realizes, oh, she's not going out. I'll just go lay back down. And he's really good to do that. But the other day, I got up to go out, and I needed him to go with me because I wasn't going to come back for a while. And he just didn't want to get up. He was just so comfy in his beanbag chair. He was like, really, do I have to get up? So I just never know what mood he's going to be in these days. Everything's good here. Still keeping things moving along, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But what I did work on this week was, this weekend, is the Wednesday video. The Wednesday video is practically done. I just have to get the thing completely finished and bound, and I'll have the video ready for Wednesday, which I'm excited about because I'm starting the week off fresh with that completely finished. And so it is a charm pack project, and it will use stash, and you can use scraps for it too. So all that stuff is in the video. So that is scrap stash project number 5 for 2025. So we haven't even got out of the first month yet, and we already have 5 of those projects. So don't sweat it if you haven't started any of them yet. The year is young, and you can go back and pick out any one of those you want to do and get started on it and get some of those things moved out of your room. We've had No Buy January going on here, and some of you are participating as well. Some are slipping a little bit, some are doing well. It's no judgment here. Whatever happens. You know, sometimes we get a little unexpected trip out to a quilt store or something, or we're in a place, visiting on vacation or whatever. Of course, people aren't usually vacationing right now, but you might go to another city and you see a quilt store and you're like, oh, I have to stop in there because I never get here, and you buy something. I would do the same thing. No worries. No worries whatsoever. But I will say my self-control, which is point number 3 on the hashtag quilt health list this year, I've done so good with that. I haven't quit cold turkey looking at things, which I never really wanted to just quit looking at things. I want to be able to look at things and not buy. That's all. Because those things will always be there. There's not very many things that, that one day when you see that item on an email or in a store or whatever, that it's not going to be there the next time you go looking for it. Could be in a store. If it's something in a bigger store, you might think, oh, that will run out. But in a quilt store, usually you can go back over there and get a piece of fabric that you saw that you liked, or something like that. So doing good with that. I've just not been tempted. Once I set in my mind that it's a no buy month, I do pretty good. I do pretty good. So proud of that. I'm proud of the way my savings account is looking. I have a good chunk of money in there now. I added some more to it, and so that's feeling really good. Yep, it is. And then I think the other thing I wanted to touch on was the staying in motion, which has been kind of my favorite one that I'm doing really well in this year, and that's working on all of my projects a little at a time, getting some things finished up that need finished up, but also keeping multiple projects going at the same time, which is something that I need for my brain. I can't just stick with one thing from the beginning to the end. I get bored really easy. I don't know. I guess it's ADHD. I've never been formally diagnosed with that, but kind of feel like maybe that's what I got. And they say a lot of adult women, like myself, my age, up to my age and even older, do get diagnosed with that later on in life. And it's something that they've struggled with their whole life. They just didn't know, what was the cause of it. Sometimes they think it's depression, and, where you have all of these, fast starts and then sudden stops and things like that. That's what that is. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to have a label. That's just who we are as people, isn't it? So I wanted to go over a question that someone had related to staying in motion, and that's related to staying in motion with our projects, keeping things going, not allowing works in progress to become UFOs, or just totally, losing your sojo altogether and not doing anything. Someone asked a question in the comments, and I thought this would be a good time for me to talk about this subject because it just kind of fits for the beginning of this year and this month, all of that. So this is a question from Jenny, and she talks about a lot of things. She always writes really nice comments, and she says, you shared good progress on your piecings. Do you have a system for keeping things in motion? I've thought about giving a project a day of the week to work on, but so far that's just a thought. I think I get stuck not wanting to put a project away once I have the fabric spread out all over my table. I'm curious if you or others have a system that works well. So this is a question for me, but it's also a question for you if you want to leave a comment. But she's basically asking, how can we have several projects going at one time and feel okay with our progress with it? Because if you look back at maybe your history of sewing or just quilting, you can kind of see how you've stored things and how you've managed your projects in the past, what has worked, what has not worked. If you're new and you're wanting to know what are some things that you can do, or what are some things I do, that's what I'm going to answer right now. Well, sometimes we have limits. You know, we just have the kitchen table. We get our sewing machine out, set it up, get our project out, start working on it, and maybe it will sit there for a few days, a week, until, you know, it has to get off the table. And either we get it done or we don't. So back when I had that kind of a setup, I always made sure I got my project done. And usually at that point, I wasn't doing much kind of crafting things. I was doing clothing, making clothing. So if I wanted to make a dress for an occasion, for example, then, you know, I would get my fabric out on the table, clear the table, get my fabric out, cut my pattern pieces out, put those on, cut those out of the fabric, and then I'm ready to sew. So I get half my table back after getting that part done. I kind of knew, you know, okay, once I clear the table completely off, then that means deal with the pattern and cutting out the fabric pieces. After that, you can reclaim half your table, see? You know, that might not be a possibility for everybody. If you have a big family and you use your table for dinner every day, it's not going to work. So you might try something else. You might try to find a corner in your house where you can set up a small table, like a card table, and, you know, put your machine on that. And then you're kind of forced to use the floor for bigger pieces of fabric. You know, quilting, we've used the floor a lot. I know a lot of us have used the floor a lot, but it gets to a point where some of us can't get up off the floor very easy, and that just has to stop. So we have to use a table again, you know, maybe to sandwich a quilt or to measure yardage and things like that. So those are some things that I did early on. And then I also remember one time later on, I had a hallway closet, and it was narrow. It was probably about, the inside of it was probably like 18 inches, and then there was the door frame. So it had wire shelving on it. And this wasn't all that many years ago, maybe 2002, something like that. It's a long time ago, isn't it? But we had a nice new house, and, you know, all the white trim and everything, and all the white plastic coated wire shelving and all that. So I claimed that closet for my sewing stuff. So I got it all arranged the way I needed to have it, and be able to get to my bins that I had at the time, and do a project on the table still, and the floor. So, you know, that has only recently gone away. You know, once we moved here in 2016, I did do some sewing in the house. This was just a shed. There wasn't anything in here. I think they had painted all of the inside studs and wallboard is what it was. It was white in here, but it was more like I think the lady that lived here before, she liked to make wreaths. And she had her stuff out here where she could do that craft. And she stored them out here too. But it wasn't nicely finished like I have it now. So I didn't feel like I could use this very well for current projects. So I was still sewing in the house and cutting on the floor and measuring on the floor and using the table. I had two tables. I had a dining room, which is now where the long arm is, and then I had an eat-in kitchen. So it was a little more convenient in that on that dining room table, I could put a project out and leave it there indefinitely because I wasn't using that table for the intended purpose. So that made it better. I did start bringing some of my bins up here, but at that time, they were just Rubbermaid storage bins is what they were. They were, you know, like a Sterilite or a Rubbermaid bin, like for storage, big storage. So I put some things up here with the dream of turning this into a sewing studio. And here we are. So only in the last, I don't know, 5 years or so have I had this. And so since I had the luxury of having a space that could just be sewing, then I set up a cutting table, an ironing table, a sewing table, shelving, all the things you need to be able to do your projects without putting them all the way up in a bin or in a bag and stuffing them somewhere until you can get to them again. So I've showed you before how I have these bins. Now this is one of the smaller ones. This is the thinner one, and you know I have the thicker one, same type. These are called Simply Tidy bins, and you get them at Michael's. So I can keep a project in here in this thin one as long as I don't have the backing already. The backing would be like 4 or 5, 6 yards. That won't fit in this one. But if I have the backing already, I'll put the project in the bigger one and keep it all together. So I keep both sizes of these depending on the project. So I have my big rolling cart over there that these sit in, and then I, once I'm finished for the day with this one, all I have to do is simply take my pieces off my cutting table, put them back in here, put it on the shelf, pull down another one. Perfect for me, because I can have many of these, many projects going, and be able to spend a little bit of time on each one as I feel like it. So like that one right there, that's the layer cake lily. I did 2 of these blocks this weekend. I did that one and that one, and then I also have one ready to put together. So that's what's going on. When I get this one put together, I'll put I've already put all my other fabrics back in. I'll put the pattern back in there, and that one's out of the way. So that's what I'm doing, and it works for me. So what I want to know is what are some of you doing as far as being able to work on multiple projects? Now I have some of my blocks of projects up on the wall over there. They're still there from Friday. I don't really have any need to put those completely away. As far as blocks, I do store a lot of them here instead of stuffing them in the box. You certainly could stuff them in the box. Like these probably wouldn't lay. They're too big to lay in the top of the box. But some of my projects that have smaller blocks, they would sit in there fine. The Harriet's Journey blocks, I have those sitting in the bin when they're not on the wall over there. So it just depends. I have project number 1 and number 2 for January over on the wall still. I don't have a formal, yes, I do have a bin for those paint chip blocks, don't I? And I have a bin for, I don't have a bin for the first project because it's based off of the 16 patch. So I can actually put those in the 16 patch. There again, the blocks are way too big to put in the box without folding them. I just don't want to fold them. You can fold them. If you don't mind folding your blocks, you can fold them and put them in the bin. If you don't want to hang them somewhere, I have a little rack over there with hooks, and I just hang these up over there out of the way. Especially if I need to put something up on the design wall, I can do this, and they're over here now, and my wall is free for, auditioning and all of that. So that's how I do it. That's how I do it now. But I'm fortunate enough to have this dedicated space, and a lot of people don't have that. You may have a room in your house, which is just like this. This shed that I'm in, I'm not even using the entire shed because it's partitioned off completely. This is like a big bedroom, or not even that big of a bedroom, really. It's about a medium-sized bedroom of a house. So, if you could carve out a room or someplace in your basement that's finished enough, or an attic, start working on that. Maybe you can get things going to where you have a cutting table and an ironing table and a sewing table and, places to put bookcases and things where you can store things, cabinets, things like that. And I didn't start out with anything very nice. Actually, this is just like a little remodel job we did in here. This is just paneling that we put over top of the studs, and we put insulation in there. We put the ceiling in, put wood floor down, and then all of the bins and, like the cube size storage stuff I have, it's stuff I've had for other purposes. I just brought it all in here and kind of arranged it the best that I could. So, you don't have to feel like you have to spend $10,000 on a brand new everything in the room. If you can, that'd be great. Do it sooner than later, so you'll have it way on in your later years and you won't have to do it then. Or maybe feel like you don't have time to do it then because, you only live so long. I hate to be morbid like that, but it's true. You don't want to spend a bunch of money on remodeling part of your house for a sewing room when, do it now. If you can afford to do it now. So that, you can get the most enjoyment that you can out of your hobby. So that's what I do. So put in the comments what you do. I would really like to hear. And Jenny was actually asking she didn't just ask me, she asked everybody in her comment, what do you do, for storage as far as being able to work on different projects. She also touched on, dedicating a certain day for a project. That's good. And that reminds me of the Pat Sloan projects that I do sometimes. She has Block Wednesday. She has in March a block a day. And you can just dedicate that day to making sure you get that block done or whatever. That's a great suggestion that she has. Just say, okay, Monday I want to work on this project, and that's all I'm going to do for that day. Just that project. I'm not going to pull anything else out. I'm more like during the, sometimes I get up and I say, you know what, I want to make 6 of those layer cake blocks. And I know back here it's telling me, you're not going to do that many today. Even if you spent the whole day, you would get bored with it and you would go and take a nap and you'd end up with 1 or 2 blocks because I set too big of a bar for myself. So it's better for me not to have a plan to attack a project large scale. Like on this layer cake lily, if I remember correctly, on Friday, I said I think I'll do 2 to 4 of those. I got 2 done over the weekend. I do have the other one, the third one, cut out, but I didn't get it done because I was doing that other stuff for Wednesday's video. So, I don't know. You can also and I've told you all this before, but some of you new people may not know it. When I started back sewing after the mask sewing for the pandemic, I sewed many hundreds of masks, and I got burnt out. Got totally burnt out. I hadn't been quilting before that either, but I thought, okay, this is a necessity that I can actually help with. So I made masks for months, and I got really sick and burnt out with it, and I just had to kind of make myself come back to sewing. So what I did to make myself come back to sewing was I made a list of things to do for the day, and it could be anything. It could be cleaning, laundry, grocery shopping, other tasks that needed to be done in my life, and I would put 30 minutes of sewing, and I would come up here and I would actually have to set a 30-minute timer and make myself sew for 30 minutes. But it didn't take very long at all before I would, the Sojo really came back. And here we are. Look at me. I'm making a quilt a week nearly now. So that works really good. If you got one of those minds like mine, using that timer to do it, or maybe you could last an hour, and doing that just makes you, you know, really see the progress fast, if it's on there every day, or every day that you have, you know, a list of things that you're going to do, stick that on there and do that. And sometimes, like I say on here all the time, if you just rustle around in your fabric for a while, you'll get inspired to do something. And even organizing your fabric, folding it, refolding it, scrapping, processing some scraps into different sizes, that will get your juices flowing as well. So I hope that helps. I hope that answers Jenny's question as well, and I hope you'll have more suggestions in the comments on how to juggle multiple projects. That was basically the question. How do you give the amount of time that each project needs, and you know, keep things going, keep things in motion. That's the whole thing, staying in motion with your projects. So that's a lot said about that. So let's go on to something else. How about the Connecting Threads magazine? Did you get this? Oh my goodness, there's so much beauty in this. I love this. They have a new line called Swallowtail Grove. Now, Connecting Threads has their own fabric lines, and they'll come out with a few during the year, and this is a really pretty one. And here's the palette of it. And do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me a little bit, or maybe a lot of bit, of Folk and Lore. At least the color palette does. It's very pretty. I won't be buying this because of all the projects I'm doing in Folk and Lore. I'm getting ready to start another one here pretty soon. So not gonna buy this, but when it gets to a point where you feel like you can buy again, or if you're just buying, you might be interested in this. I really like this. I think this is a kit. Isn't that pretty out of that? Their kits are so reasonable. Yes, they are. I've noticed that their kits are very reasonably priced. This is a really pretty one too. Garden Glory Quilt Kit. This is in the swallowtail prints. Look at this. Look at that's pretty cool. That's a kit for $99. It's 56 by 68. That's decent size. You need 3.5 yards for backing, so that tells you about what it is. But I think that's a great deal. It's a $100 project. You come out with this beautiful, beautiful quilt. There's more. There's quite a few more kits, and then they also have this Whitley Court. Now I had been seeing this. Here's the fabric in blues and kind of taupe. I love those colors together. And let's see what else there is. Here's a bunch of more projects in that. Classy, very classy. I kind of like this little kit right here. This is out of Meadow Mist, which I think is from the past, but it's a $65 kit. It's 54.5 by 63.5. Very easy. It's a plus sign quilt right there. And there it is on the chair. That's very pretty. They have a lot of small projects in here too. Bags, zipper bags, things like that. Now, I did want to talk about this. Kim Deal. Scrap Basket Favorites. She is just going over the top on her reproduction. They're so much brighter and prettier now than they used to be. I love that, all of these colors here and how they're coordinating with each other. There's even like a plum in there, a teal, along with the browns and yellows and creams, rust. Very pretty. I might get some of that at some point. The fat quarters in here are $124.99. I bet I could probably find that cheaper somewhere else. I'll keep my eye out for that. I have Sandy Gervais's line. I have not tried their Floofy yet. Has any of you tried their Floofy? It's like their version of Minky. I'm waiting for one of you to do it. I should do it, shouldn't I? I'm the one that should be showing you. But if you have used Floofy, put that down there and tell me what you think about it. My friend was telling me that they have a wool blend batting, and I see it here. I'd like to try some wool blend. They have wool and then a wool blend. I don't know what the wool blend is, like the percentage. I think she was telling me 80-20, so 80 cotton and 20 wool. Don't forget the essential thread. My machines like it. You might be able to make your machine like it too if you change your tension a little bit on your needle. And then I noticed they also have a good connection. They have a good selection of white on whites. They're $10.96 a yard, and it's called monochrome. And this is their right there. If you need white on whites. If you've never bought fabric from Connecting Threads, it's very soft. It's very soft. Very, very, very nice. Kind of like Art Gallery. I kind of have a feeling they must use the same mill or something. I'm not sure, but yeah. Yeah, and I think that's all I wanted to show you out of that. But if you don't get Connecting Threads, you can just go on connectingthreads.com and go down towards the bottom and sign up for a catalog. Or, better yet, go to the link in the description box of this video. There's a link for something there. And once you get in there, then, you know, you can maneuver around. If you decide to buy something, they do send me a commission on it. No pressure. I don't care if you buy through my link or not. All right. Let's get into the quilt of the week. Oh, this is neat. 55 by 55. Let me put a picture right here. It's called Shark Bite by Deborah Milkovich of Honolulu, Hawaii. She says this quilt has some memories tied to it for Deborah. She designed it during a rough period for her family, and the imagery really resonated with her anxiety at the time. Despite this, she had fun piecing the pieces together and figuring out that they'd fit together. She used Kona solids and RFL 50 weight thread to create this hand-drawn design. It's been shown in several shows, including AQS Quilt Week Paducah in 2023, QuiltCon Together in 2021, and Grace Quilt Company's 2022 Fall Festival. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. I wish I could get myself to do something like this in solids. Solids just do not interest me, other than for, you know, a background or something. But this is gorgeous, and she hand drew this and then had to figure out how to make it. I know there's a bunch of you people out there that love to do that, but I still need to get busy on EQ8 and let it do the work for me. Shark Bite, this is called. So, yeah, it says that this was a difficult time when she was making this quilt, but, you know, it's very therapeutic to put all those pieces together and come out with something amazing. It can make you feel a lot better about your situation, and you know that there's still a lot of life to be enjoyed, even in dark times. You know, sewing can shine a bright light for us when we need it the most. So I love Deborah's quilt here, and it looks like there's a ton of custom quilting on it. It is just amazing. There's a lot to look at on this, and no doubt I did see it when I went to Paducah in 2023. Very nice. As usual. Have I ever said, oh, this is a horrible quilt out of these? No, I don't think I have. So this is the, for you new people, this is the Quilt Art Engagement Calendar that you can get on American Quilters Society website, AmericanQuilter.com. And you could get one real cheap right now because we're already in January. So go over there and get you one. I just kind of use mine as a journal. I just put down every day what I've accomplished. And I did that last year as an experiment, and I'm continuing to do it because I really like to go back and look and see what I've accomplished with my projects, and kind of keeps me straight too, as far as, you know, where am I on something? What did I do? What was I doing yesterday? And do I need to wrap up something on that, you know, I can just kind of look at this every day and then add to it. So that's another way to keep organized with your projects. Oh, I was going to say too, on that whole project organization thing, don't feel like you have to go out and buy those bins that I have. You know, if you've just got some reusable bags or something like that, you could put a ribbon on the handle with a nice little tag and say what the project is, and then maybe more compactly be able to put those in on a shelf or something like that. You don't need a ton of room for things. Room is nice. Having room is really, really nice. But, you know, you can still accomplish something amazing with the little amount of space that you have. So don't hold back just because you don't have space to get your projects out and have them strewn all over the place. Or you feel like you have to get just one out at a time. You know, you can organize yourself to where it's easy to get one out at a time, or maybe have a little space to do a couple things at the same time. So just look around in your house and see what you can set up for yourself. Alright, that's it. This week I have that Scrap Stash Buster project number 5 for you on Wednesday. Be sure and come back and see that. It's really pretty. It's a smaller project, but you know, that's kind of what charm packs are for, is smaller projects. Not necessarily. I know you can make an entire king-size quilt out of charm packs, but this one's a smaller one. End of the month. We've got bigger projects going on already, so a small one is nice. Alright, I will see you back here on Wednesday for that, and then back again on Friday for Finish It Friday. Thank you for sending in your submissions of your photos. Those are helpful. I've been trying to do about 10 a week, so if you send one in and you don't see it, you'll probably be early on in the next episode. And so be sure and look at the requirements for sending photos too in the description box. But either way, get busy on something, find some space to do something in. Hey, since we were on that subject, maybe this is the week that you get organized with all your projects that you want to do. Alright, we'll see you soon. Bye.